Hello students, I welcome you back again to our topic in question, clauses. In our previous lesson, we look at what is meant by a clause, we saw some examples of clauses, and also look at the types of clauses, of which we did independent clause. Today, we intend looking at some examples of independent clause. Now let's see those examples below. Jethro needed a vacation job and the father paid him to work in his store. That is two independent clauses. We have Jethro needed a vacation job. Another clause, the father paid him to work in his store. So these are two clauses joined by the conjunction and. You see it? Good. And each of them can stand on its own because it can make sense. Now let's look at the second sentence. I went to buy a phone, but I don't have enough money. Now let's see, that one too is two independent clauses. Let's see the first clause. I want to buy a phone as one clause. I don't have enough money. That one too is another clause. And it is joined by a conjunction but. Therefore, we have I want to buy a phone, but I don't have enough money. Do you get it? Now the third sentence. If I have enough money, I will buy the house. That one too is also a two-clause sentence. Now let's see. If I have enough money as one, I will buy the house. So these are the two clauses, and it is an independent clause. Are you okay? In sentence 1, there are two independent clauses joined by the conjunction and. This conjunction is used to join two positive statements. Let us look at the sentences below. Jethro needed a vacation job. The father paid him to work in his store. Now you see that with these two sentences, they are simple sentences and they are joined by a conjunction and, as in the case of the first example I gave, NB. Each of these groups of words is an independent clause written separately as two simple sentences. Are you okay? Now let's look at the second one, dependent clause. What then is a dependent clause? It is a kind of sentence which cannot stand on its own as a complete sentence. This means that a sentence of this kind is not a clause. Why? Because it doesn't make sense. Because we said that every clause or every sentence must make sense. So if it's supposed to make sense, then everything about it should be in order. Now let's see this one. It is so because it is left an idea or thought unfinished in the independent clause. This idea or thought left allows the independent clause to make sense or complete. Dependent clause is also called subordinate clause. The conjunctions do the work of connecting the independent clause to another clause to complete the sentence or the idea. This simply means that with dependent clause, because it cannot stand on its own to make sense, rather it depends on the independent clause, we need to connect them by using the conjunctions, as I said earlier on in the previous lesson, to join those two sentences together to make meaning. In simple terms, with dependent clause, it depends on the independent clause to make sense. Are you okay? Now let's see the examples below. A. I know the man. B. The man stole the watch. These are two separate sentences. So if you join the two together, what do you think you will get? I know the man who stole the watch. Do you get it? Good. Then the second one, he bought a car. The second one, the car was too expensive. Now, if you join the two, what will we get? Do that as an exercise. Are you okay? Now, if there's no question to this, we'll pause here and have a short exercise on the Ziba Learning Zone. Until then, goodbye.